Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati. Hare Krishna, welcome to our Bhagavad-gita series here at Bhagavad-gita. Here it is. We are reading Bhagavad-gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and my name is Lavangala Tika. And we are in that part of the second chapter where we hear about a person who has achieved spiritual realization. Text 64. Ragadvesha vimuktaishtu vishayan indriyaishcharan atma vashyair vidheyatma prasadam adhigachhati. But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. Purport. It is already explained that one may externally control the senses by some artificial process, but unless the senses are engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord, there is every chance of a fall. Although the person in full Krishna consciousness may apparently be on the sensual plane, because of his being Krishna conscious, he has no attachment to sensual activities. The Krishna conscious person is concerned only with the satisfaction of Krishna and nothing else. Therefore, he is transcendental to all attachment and detachment. If Krishna wants, the devotee can do anything which is ordinarily undesirable, and if Krishna does not want, he shall not do that which he would have ordinarily done for his own satisfaction. Therefore, to act or not to act is within his control because he acts only under the direction of Krishna. This consciousness is the causeless mercy of the Lord, which the devotee can achieve in spite of his being attached to the sensual platform. This is an interesting concept, the regulative principles of freedom. And to be free from attachment and aversion. These are somewhat deep principles to understand, because we know, we have been reading almost the whole second chapter of the Bhagavad-gita, so we do know that we are not this body, and we do know that the aim of human life is to rise above the platform of identification on the bodily platform of desiring material sense gratification, sense enjoyment, so that we understand to be freed from attachment, but we also want to be free from aversion, because we're simply not connected to this material existence. That is just a misconception. It's a very strong misconception. It's called ahankara, false identification with something that is not really us. So we are starting to practice this Krishna consciousness, and this whole purport here, how, if we are able to fully be concerned only with the satisfaction of Krishna, of serving Krishna, it may sound from the outside, for somebody who's not practicing this process, it may sound a little bit fanatical and a little bit, how to say, like we are forgetting of ourselves. We hear that sometimes. The members of Hare Krishna, they look a little bit like a cult. They look a little bit brainwashed. Because when you look from an outside perspective, this looks like you're losing yourself. If you do everything for somebody else, you lose yourself. The point is, though, with Krishna, serving Krishna, this is who we actually are. When we do that, when we render service to Krishna, when we connect to Him, this is not like we're not standing in a factory on a conveyor belt and just doing the thing there that Krishna wants us to do. We are engaged in a personal relationship. We connect with Krishna. We realize who He is and how we love Him. And we also realize who we are ourselves. Because in that activity, in that connection, that is where the soul is fully satisfied. So not only do we don't do it because if I serve Krishna I will be happy also. That is not the purest level of Krishna consciousness, but it's an actual fact that if you want to be intelligently egoistic, if you want to intelligently think what activity will make me the happiest, actually connecting to Krishna, that is what yoga means. The little soul connects with the greater soul, God, Krishna. That is what fulfills the soul on a very deep level, in our very actual real identity. So it is not just a trick or just a compulsion. It is something that is very real and actually works. So freedom from attachment and aversion means something is good, something is bad. It doesn't touch us so much because we are connected on a spiritual level to Krishna. So we don't get, frustrated when we lose something. We don't get despondent when things are not going our way, when life is a little bit difficult. Because in spiritual life, it is possible to find that steady platform in the heart, in the service to the Lord. And that's what the regulative principle of freedom means before we are actually fully realized. Because it's possible to be fully realized, to actually see Krishna face to face. But when we are in the process, Krishna consciousness is not binary. It's not that either we're an illusion or we're fully Krishna conscious. We develop, it grows, our realization grows. And when we're on this little bit of a middle platform, we know we're Krishna servants. We're doing some service. We're happy with that. But at the same time, we have still some identification with the mind, with the senses. And there are some anarthas in the heart. There is a description of that, a very nice description, how you start your spiritual life and how it progresses. Adau Shadha, Sadhusanga, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, and Nishta. The beginning is we have a little faith. It seems to be making sense. It seems to be worth a try. Then Sadhusanga, we start to associate with persons who are engaged in this Krishna consciousness spiritual life. And then Bhajana Kriya, we start to actually perform activities in that worship, in that line. And then Anartha Nivritti. Artha means that which is valuable, and Anartha means that which doesn't have any value. And Anartha Nivritti means purification, the things in the heart that are a hindrance in our spiritual life. We start to see them, and when we see them, we can also reject them. My pride, I don't need you. Anger, I don't need you. Sense gratification, lust, all those things. We can't give them up before we see them, because our heart, we have so much collected over lifetime after lifetime, so many desires, so many identifications, so many things. We can't see them all at the same time, but they do come up at times, and we're thinking, okay, you are there, but I don't really need you. I need my service to Krishna more. So that's the process. And therefore we learn we learn many details. We have many regulative principles, how to live, how not to live. And religions in general, they tend to have that. But if we don't understand the connection to the real process, which means to re-establish the loving connection, the relationship with Krishna, who is our best friend and who is God and who is everything to us, then they just become principles. They just become something dry, something not very attractive. But the regulative principles of freedoms, they have this, they are valuable in that they help us. They give us protection in our process of while we are developing, while our spiritual consciousness hasn't fully bloomed, hasn't fully manifested. They give us some protection during that time. I will read the next verse, text 65. Prashade sarva dukkhanang hanir asyo padjayate prashanna chetaso yasu buddhi paryavatishthate. For one, thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold mysteries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. And I'd like to Note that the threefold miseries of material existence are adhyatmika klesha, adhibhautika klesha, and adhidaivika klesha. Adhyatmika klesha, klesha means the sufferings, the miseries that come from ourselves, our body, our mind. If we are sick, if we have a mental disturbance and so on. That's that. Adhibhautika klesha means miseries that come from other living entities. We have mosquitoes in the summer, they are very disturbing. We can get attacked by tigers and wolves. That creates some problems. And adhidaivika klesha, that means from the demigods, because we are personalists. We don't just see bad weather and natural catastrophes. We see the hands of the demigods behind that. And sometimes, I live in Sweden, we have winters, they are very long, they are very cold, they are very disturbing. But for one who is thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, these disturbances, they don't exist any longer. So that's something to look forward to. This one doesn't have a purport, so I read another one. Text 66. Nasti buddhir ayuktasya na cha yuktasya bhavana na cha bhavayata shantir ashantasya kuta sukham. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? Purport. Unless one is in Krishna consciousness, there is no possibility of peace. So it is confirmed in the 5th chapter, 529, that when one understands that Krishna is the only enjoyer of all the good results of sacrifice and penance, that he is the proprietor of all universal manifestation, and that he is the real friend of all living entities, then only can one have real peace. Yes, there is always the disturbance because we don't know what is right and what is wrong. Who does it belong to? Should these people have that? And what about me? Will I get what I need? But when we see Krishna owns everything, and all activities, if we aim them towards Krishna's pleasure, and Krishna is also the best friend of everyone, we can become very peaceful. We can have some faith that it will be all right. And yes, therefore, if one is not in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be a final goal for the mind. The mind is like that. It jumps here and there. It will always have something new. But with Krishna, with that focus, the mind can actually settle down in a fixed place at Krishna's lotus feet. Disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal, and when one is certain that Krishna is the enjoyer, proprietor and friend of everyone and everything, then one can, with a steady mind, bring about peace. Therefore, one who is engaged without a relationship with Krishna is certainly always in distress and is without peace, however much he may make a show of peace and spiritual advancement in life. Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested peaceful condition which can be achieved only in relationship with Krishna. So yes, Bhagavad-gita aims at Krishna consciousness. And Bhagavad-gita will give us a practical direction in life. And it's not just words. It's not just, okay, I read this and I believe it. No, you can read it and then you can put it into practices in your life, and then you can also watch other people who have put this in practice in their lives. Of course, there will always be different levels. You will find people who have started to study Bhagavad-gita, started to practice Krishna consciousness, who haven't gotten very far. And some who have. Some who have that peace of mind. Some who has that acceptance of every living entity as part and parcel of Krishna, and therefore worthy of being loved and respected. And who has found that satisfaction on the level of the soul and is therefore not constantly tossed about in the waves of desires and mental, lack of peace. So this is something that a self-manifested peaceful condition which is available to everyone. So yes, we sometimes come on a little strong. We want to give you Krishna consciousness because it is a very nice thing. Yeah, I think I end this here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang